So I've seen a lot of people who dabble in JJK and people who are deep in the fandom and the story themselves say that Yuji is one of the most boring, lame main characters ever, and the harsh reality is they're just conditioned by every single shonen, well, damn near every single anime ever, into thinking that a main character needs to be smothered in super OP broken abilities or some extraordinary circumstances for their birth to be a main character, and Yuji really flips that on its head. Honestly, I've always found it a little ironic that his name is Yuji because it really feels like what it would be like if you, yourself, were thrust into a larger than life situation that you really didn't understand. Now let's face it, in most of our favorite battle manga and anime, the story goes someone is introduced to a life or starts a journey where they have to face insurmountable tasks and villains, but somehow, whether it's through plot armor or the author's writing, whatever it is, they're given the ability to be able to overcome. Yuji is not granted those things. To put it into perspective, when people are using reverse curse technique, Yuji can't use it. When people are using their curse technique, he doesn't have one. When people are using their domain expansion, Yuji definitely doesn't have one of those. And there's many a times when it would have benefited him. But he's not just given one because he's the main character. And to me that feels so real, because if you join the army tomorrow, you wouldn't be the best sniper, you wouldn't have the best shot, you wouldn't have the fastest reload times. The only thing you would have are the talents that you had before you got there. But that's really all you would have. You would have to learn, because you haven't been there for a long amount of time. So it just feels so real. Oddly enough, Yuji reminds me of Harry Potter. There's this weird circumstance and mystery of what makes them special, but when you get into the verse, you realize they're no more skilled than any other person. Harry's not some highly skilled wizard who has these incredible abilities. No, Hermione's the smartest one around and she can do all the cool stuff. And Ron knows everything about being a wizard because his whole family is just wizards and he's just used to it. He's been a part of the culture. It's like Megumi and Nobara have been there and they know how this stuff works. Even though Yuji's the MC, it doesn't make him more special or more explosively powered, especially not than they are. One thing that ruined the show Naruto Shippuden for me was that it becomes the Naruto show and delegitimizes everyone that you thought was cool before that. You thought any of the ninjas were doing anything before, and you were excited to see them do things when they got older? Forget about it. It is the Naruto show. I mean, by the end, he's supplying the entire ninja army with his chakra. I feel like when it comes to JJK, Gege really split up the traits of the typical main character and put them into other characters so we actually care about them. Gojo, obviously the honored one who can just do crazy stuff, and it's just the guy we can lean on. Megumi is that character that feels like when things reach max despair, he has that typical shonen trump card. And Yuta obviously is Rika, so he just can go crazy in fights and really handle himself and do his own thing. But that doesn't leave Yuji out, because Yuji has the heart of a main character. He doesn't want to see people die, he wants to be able to protect people, he wants to be able to win fights, to be an asset to his team. But because he doesn't just inherently have an overwhelming amount of power, you have to see him struggle. You have to see him fall into a bit of despair and worry and sadness. But that's how it would be if you were dragged into the situation unknowingly yourself. Sadly enough, you don't just start popping off with the power of friendship when life gets hard. And you don't just randomly get stronger when you just need things to happen. You have to work really hard and train and take time. And we see that from Yuji when there's the small time skip before the Sukuna fight, and he gets to train, and he does learn reverse curse technique, and he develops his curse technique. All I'm really saying is, I feel like people are just so conditioned to seeing the typical shonen main character, like Deku, like Ichigo, like Naruto, the character that just prevails when they need to, when the time is quote-unquote right, and everything is on the line. They just beef up, or something crazy happens, and it's just explained away by, well, they had a great lineage factor, or it was just meant to be. And it's just so crazy to see a character who doesn't have that, and everyone just thinks that they're kind of trash. To me, it feels like Yuji is simply special because he's not special, and he's more like me and you. And that's okay. If you made it this far in the video, you're awesome. Definitely sub, it would mean a lot. Throw down a like, helps me get in the algorithm, really trying to grow the channel, and I'm gonna do plenty more stuff like this for every anime I can possibly think of. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
this is real.